Upon approaching the dinner table, they saw everyone there, even IQ and Miss Hanson. 2 new girls were also at the table. They appeared Middle Eastern and looked like they had always been at the table. Miss Hanson got up from the table and told both of them to go into the next room for measurements. Measurements? For what? Zoner asked. The bots will make your training grays tonight. Grays are like a training outfit that is tough to rip or hurt. You'll need them tomorrow. Both were ushered by Miss Hanson to a room with bots. Once their measurements had been taken, one of the bots said, 5 sets of grays will be waiting outside the door to your room in the morning. The others must have been measured already, Midas thought as the bots began to leave. Zoner and Midas went back to the dining area and saw everyone already eating. They both went back to the table to learn who the new girls were. Jack stood up before IQ could and started speaking. We have 2 new members at the table, Aid and Oracle, she said, motioning to the 2 new girls. My handle is Aid, the older of the 2 girls said. I'm 15 years old and I have the power to heal and empathic powers. She seemed to know the introduction drill. My handle is Oracle. I can communicate telepathically and I can read minds. I'm 13 years old and I come from Saudi Arabia, the other new girl said. I didn't think children of Middle Eastern nations could attend an academy, said Zoner as if she wanted more information. IQ answered quickly, avoiding wrong words from being said. Brand new program. Aid here is part of the program too. She's from Iraq. He must have thought something also, because Zoner smiled and said, It's nice to meet you both. My name is Zoner, and this is Midas. She went on to introduce both of them, and the 2 latecomers went off to the buffet for a plate. On returning, IQ opened a spot near him and motioned for Midas to join him. I dug down a few feet on the side of the metal you made. I made it down about 2 feet, and it still continued down. Do you know how deep the change you made goes? IQ asked. I don't know, but when I did it before, they said it was like half a ball. The radius centered on me, Midas said, dipping his egg roll. IQ looked like someone was trying to fib to him. You mean, from the center, that thing is as deep as it is to the edge? That's what the HU people said, right before they said I was going to Alpha. I paced out the diameter of the metal. It's about 600 feet across. IQ paused to take a bite of his sweet and sour chicken, then continued. I can't believe that's 300 feet deep at the center. If you would have done that in here, we'd all be dead. Most people close to them stopped to listen. What do you mean, we'd all be dead? Jack asked IQ. The cactus, desert flowers, insects, even a snake I saw all turned to metal. Midas' power affected the organic matter as well. A bunch of red shirts like us wouldn't have stood up to that kind of change. It didn't do that before, Midas said. You sure did it this time. People at the table were quiet, and Midas felt like he was going to be the center of unwanted attention. No more video games for you, Jack said loudly with a smile. She pointed her whole arm at him and made a fake mean face. Making an extra big deal out of it seemed to make it smaller. Miss Hanson was letting the children talk amongst themselves, but thought now was the time to put an end to the foolishness. No one is dying tonight and no one is playing video games. Some of the kids made groaning faces. You have a big day tomorrow. You'll meet your personal trainers and be assessed. And before you ask, Midas, we have someone to train you also. Midas smiled at that, someone to teach him how to use his power. I know why you were mainlined here, IQ said softly. Tell me and we'll both know. I was just doing some calculations in my head. You transformed about 57 million cubic feet of desert into metal. That's way past a 10 plus for power level. Do you know what 10 plus means? Asked IQ. No, I don't. Midas was getting kinda tired of people telling him he didn't know stuff. Powers are measured on a scale of 1 to 10. To get to Alpha, you typically need a 7 or greater to be competitive. 10 plus means off the scale. To change that much matter, you would have to be a 10 plus a few times over. Well, I guess that's why I'm here, Midas conceded. No, it's not. Have you thought about what you did? I mean, have you put any thought into the whole act or the physical science of the after effect? I'm trying not to. I would prefer to just enjoy dinner, Midas said. He didn't like the extra attention. IQ ignored him and continued. Where did the extra mass come from? What? The extra mass. Typical steel weighs 5 times as much or more than sand. All other transmuters, when they change something lighter to something heavier, it still weighs the same. It just changes size. You know, a ton of feathers and a ton of rocks is still a ton. One is just smaller. Midas looked dumbfounded. I never thought about that before. I don't know all the specifics and I don't have exact numbers to plug into formulas, but my guess is that you produced 11.4 million tons of matter, IQ said. How is that even possible? Asked Jack, who was listening in. Don't look at me for answers, Midas said. You told Miss Hanson you were 11. Is that true? IQ asked. Yeah, Kodiak made a big deal about me being 11, so I didn't add it in when we met, said Midas. That's why you got in early. You need to be trained before you hurt someone. Did anyone get hurt the first time you used your powers? Jack asked. No, but it was only 200 feet across last time, and nothing living was changed, Midas said. So by my calculations, your power has multiplied by 27 in 8 days. Wow, said IQ. Midas wasn't sure what his calculations were, but somehow he knew he must be right. IQ talks like he's always in a laboratory, wearing a white lab coat, he thought. As if on cue, Zoner laughed while trying to swallow. She must have been reading my mind, Midas thought. Zoner, serves you right for invading my privacy. I hope you pass a whole egg roll through your nose while laughing, he thought. She started laughing harder, trying to keep her food in her mouth. Midas then kept thinking of the funniest things he could to try and keep her laughing. The rest of the evening was uneventful. Miss Hanson told them a wake-up call would be given at 0700, and the in-room entertainment would be shut down at 2100. She informed them that breakfast started at 0730, and their training day would start at 0800. Everyone sat around and talked for a few more hours before heading up to their rooms. As everyone started to leave the table, Midas asked Miss Hanson, "When will we have access to email or a phone?" "Your family has already been informed of your safe arrival. You get communication privileges as soon as you finish your secrets training. That goes over what you can or can't say that might tell someone where Alpha is." "When is that?" "Wednesday is your first session, and you should be completed by Friday." Up in his room, Midas put his inhaler on the nightstand. What a day, he thought. At least there were no drill instructors or screaming people here, he said out loud.